Romance isn't an unfamiliar subject to most of us. We read about it, watch it, and even experience it.
Although it may come easily and naturally, there's much more to romance than meets the eye, as we'll see in the stories in today's program.
In the beginning, a romance may seem quite innocent, but it can grow and lead to all kinds of things, as you'll see in this zany new game show, Was That?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's episode of our new game show, Was That? The rules of the game are simple. We flash a picture on the screen, and our studio audience tries to guess what it is. Our subject today is romance. A little clue there for you. Romance. And now, our first picture. Was that, folks? Well, how about that? The first sign of a budding romance. Did you guess it? Now, what's this coming up? Oh, a very romantic scene. Yes, indeed. We're moving right along here. What's next? There you have it, folks. Marriage. And rings, the symbols of eternal love. We've got you guessing again. What is it? Don't tell me it's hard times. A bit of poverty there. Can romance survive hard times? And more hard times. Give up? Oh no, all that romantic feeling. Where is it now? Will romance survive the tears? Yes, I do believe he's made it out of the doghouse with those roses. Ah, now isn't that a lovely product of romance? Remember, you're still guessing on the subject of romance. It is now 16 years later, and romance has turned to worry. Where is that kid anyway? But romance can survive. And there it is, still going strong after all these years, through hard times and good. More than just sugar and fluff, romance with commitment.
How many of those situations did you get, Phyllis?
Not very many. I guess I'm not very romantic. We'll be back.
Romance has a lot of feeling to it, deep feeling, the kind even our analytical professor can feel.
There have always been interesting stories of romance. People have gone to a lot of work to make loving relationships between the sexes meaningful.
Years ago, people had very interesting ways of showing their feelings to each other. Some of the main gifts lovers exchanged with each other were flowers and poems. Bouquets and wreaths were designed carefully according to traditional meanings. Flowers had meanings assigned to them to show grief, joy, gratitude, and love. For example, a white carnation stood for pure, strong love. A buttercup symbolized mockery and sarcasm. A daisy spoke of gentleness and innocence, while a yellow rose meant unfaithfulness and jealousy. Closely related to the romantic meaning of flowers is perfume. Both flowers and perfume are mentioned frequently in the Bible. It is believed that perfumes were used from the earliest times. Egyptians buried their dead with generous amounts of perfumes and sweet-smelling materials. Women also used cosmetics to enhance their beauty. Lip salves, some of them containing dangerous amounts of lead, hand lotions, eyeshadow, rouge, hair bleach. It is said that Nero of Rome installed silver pipes in his dining room to spray strong, sweet-smelling perfumes on his guests. The delicate and most expensive perfumes come from flower petals. Substances called essential oils are stored in tiny sacs in the petals. One of the methods of extracting this oil is to pass steam through the plant. The essential oil turns to gas and is sent through pipes where it is cooled and liquefied again. The oil is then dissolved in alcohol and water. Most perfumes are made up of 10 to 20% perfume oils and 80 to 90% alcohol and water. Expensive perfumes contain another element called musk. It is used because it adds to the scent and makes the fragrance of the perfume last longer. Some of the main sources of this musk are the male musk deer and the beaver. Musk is a dried substance coming from glands within these animals. The musk deer that are most valuable live near Tibet. They are hunted and killed because of their value to perfume manufacturers. Because these deer are extremely wary and clever, they are hard to hunt. Sometimes hunters will go into the wilds where they live and play a lively tune on a flute. The deer, not used to such sounds, come close to investigate and fall into the hands of the hunter. One other nonverbal method to pass on romantic messages was used in Victorian times in high society in England and Canada. In those days, before air conditioning, women used fans to cool their faces. They developed a fan language. If a young woman fanned rapidly, it meant that she was independent. If she fanned slowly, it meant that she was engaged or spoken for. A wide open fan meant, "I love you," while a half-open one said, "I'm a friend." Held at the right cheek, a fan said, "Yes." At the left, "No." A girl slinging a fan casually in her hand meant, "Will you see me home?" It seems that throughout history, people have found very interesting ways to be romantic. God created us with the ability to feel romantic love and to express it in interesting ways. He also wants us to do it responsibly.
All those squished flowers just to make people attractive, Phyllis.
We'll be back with an older couple who tell us what romance is like for them.
Falling in love can have moments of uncertainty, especially when there's a conflict between your feelings and what you think is right.
Dear Darren. 2 D's. I love D's, the way I can just loop around them. I don't know why I always think I have to write letters. I never send them. I wonder if that means I'm going to be a writer. How do I tell Darren what I feel? Dear Darren, I love you. If he got a hold of this note, I'd die of embarrassment. I could hardly wait till Friday, just to be with him, all alone. I think my heart is gonna stop. His eyes are so blue and deep. He's such a deep thinker. I just don't know why the teachers pick on him so much. If they knew what he was really like, they'd stop. I'm gonna wear my blue dress, the one he said he really likes. Or maybe I should wear jeans with a pink top. I don't know why everyone circulates stories about him. Just because he used to go out with Michelle, and just because she's a runaround, doesn't say Darren is. He's so cute. I don't like it when Gail calls him a hunk. I still can't believe he asked me out. I wonder what he sees in me. Gail says Steve says Darren is no good. She has this insane idea that she knows more than I do. But I don't like Steve either. I think he's a snob. But Marie says the same thing. She says she went out with him. I think she knows how scared I am. The thing I can't understand is what Tim said. Tim doesn't lie. He said that he doesn't like Darren because he saw Darren club a wild rabbit to death on one of their campouts. But it must have been someone else. Darren is so gentle. But why would Tim say that to me? I guess all those stories that I hear make me just trust Darren. Mom says that trust is at the bottom of love. Does that mean I don't love Darren? No. I guess I don't love him the way Mom loves Dad. Like when Dad comes home grubby and sleeps with his mouth open, Mom loves him anyway. But I just get so excited when Darren comes around. I think I'd die if he stopped noticing me. Oh, what am I supposed to do?
People say there's wisdom in the advice of the experienced. The third story interviewed a couple that's been married for 50 years. He's a minister. Here's what they have to say about romance.
You can use the word love and say it as often as you want to. If there's no proof for it, it actually doesn't say much.
For love to last a long time means when you have failed that you're willing to admit it, and that's not always easy.
The main thing is to realize that love is something that has to be built up day by day as you go along.
Of course, when you say how long ago, well, that was 54 years ago when this thing all started. I was a real shy guy. So the first time when I made up my mind I'm going to see that girl of whom I know, I walked down. It was Depression time. Horses were poor, you had no vehicle, so I walked down 2.5 miles. And when I came close to the point, I hope she doesn't notice me, So I walked up to the yard and I walked past and I walked all around the section 4 miles to back home, didn't even walk into the yard. That was sometime in September, I think. So in December, I took courage once more. Then on horseback, and it was the cold winter, and I rode down, and the good thing was her brother came out, so I had a connection there. I talked with him and visited a bit, but I found out later that, that she was actually a bit anxious for me to come. So I kept on going. That was 4 years before we got married.
As far as I knew him, he was a nice, gentle boy, a nice guy, and never thought of it at that time when he came over the first time that we would get married. But he was a nice, clean guy, and I loved him.
Romance never quits as long as a couple love each other. And I think we have a lot more romance in our life now that we have been married for 50 years than we ever knew there was when we were beginners. I've been at so many weddings and married so many people, and I always tell them, never say that this is sort of, the climax or the height of your life, or your life's experience, or even in your romantic life. This is just the beginning. This thing grows. A respect for each other is something I would say can never be overemphasized. I always tell every young couple that I married, never lose respect for each other. That doesn't mean to agree with each other. That's fun, not to agree. And no matter how we disagree, the more I love my wife. I also know for a fact that a Christian couple that really lives with God, where God sort of energizes and keeps the love going between a couple, this love will constantly grow.
I really feel where a couple really loves each other, their Satan is far more at work to put wedges in between, to separate.
Naturally, there can be family hardships, and there are, physical hardships. But when one of us suffers, boy, we sure try to help each other. And of course, it brings you closer together. And it brings you closer together spiritually as well, because in praying for each other, praying together and relying on God, putting your confidence in God, I think is also a great gift of God for us, especially as older people, to enjoy what God has for us in this life. Sure, it's one thing to go to church and to have your devotions at home, to read your Bible, your devotion book, and pray and really sense sort of the nearness, the intimacy. But when you can enjoy together what God has for us in this life here below, outside of your house, away from your home. And at least we find it that way when we're out, in God's beautiful wilds that He has, and when we go along in the boat and see God's beautiful nature and all this, and sit there together, besides the spiritual aspect, you feel so close together. This is what God has for us, and for us to enjoy. But again, I would also say that as you grow older, you grow more intimate to each other too. I think the joy of having each other, just really to know this, we have each other, that is a tremendous comfort in life.
Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life.
That hand feels sweeter and lovelier and softer now after 50 years than it did the first year.
If you keep on the sunny side of life.
Good thing he got over his bashfulness, Phyllis.
Yeah. We'll be back.
We've been talking about the romantic part of love. We've seen that there's more to love than just feeling.
Love is a big subject, and we couldn't cover it all in one program. It may come as a surprise to some people that the Bible has a lot of romance in it, with a lot of wisdom, too, on how to deal with it.
Here's a part from the poetic section of the Bible, Proverbs and Psalms.
There are 3 things that are too amazing for me to understand. No, 4. How an eagle glides through the sky, how a serpent crawls on a rock, how a ship finds its way across the heaving ocean, and the growth of love between a man and a maiden. The lips of a prostitute are as sweet as honey, but afterwards only a bitter conscience is left to you, sharp as a double-edged sword. Keep to a path far from her. Do not go near the door of her house. If you can find a truly good wife, she is worth more than precious gems. She is a woman of strength and dignity. charm can be deceptive, and beauty doesn't last. But a woman who fears and reverences God shall be greatly praised. Young men and maidens, let them praise the Lord.
Garth, can you give me a good definition of romance?
Sure. How about this one? The happy intimacy of two people leading to their promise of commitment to each other.
The happy intimacy of two people leading to their promise of commitment to each other. That's good.
The best romantic commitment includes God, to guide and provide deep love that only He can give.
Say, we'd like to have a letter from you. Tell us what you think of our stories and tell us your own story.
When you write, we'll send you this third story survival kit. It's all about getting through a day with God's help. A poster, things to read, and send are included.
Write to The Third Story, Box 2, Station F, Winnipeg, Manitoba. That's The Third Story, Box 2, Station F, Winnipeg, Manitoba. We'll be waiting to hear from you.